President Obama, already entrenched in a war in Afghanistan, will now sit down with Iran in the highest level talks between the two nations in 30 years. This meeting, and his actions and decisions with respect to Afghanistan will be the president's biggest foreign policy tests of his young presidency. My next two guests are each former Marines who are each running for Congress in different states. They both consider themselves libertarians, and both are running as Republicans, but each has a different view of our foreign policy. Joining me first is Jesse Kelly, a veteran of the Iraq War. Jesse is running for Congress in the 8th District in Arizona. Jesse, welcome back to Freedom Watch.
Thanks for having me on, Judge. It's great to be here.
Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you in Tucson in a couple of weeks. Jesse,
you as well.
What is it about the Iraq War that made it moral or that made it legal that people who believe in the Constitution can have honest disagreements about it?
Well, the Iraq War is a touchy one. To be honest with you, I try to stay away from ever debating the merits of the Iraq War. It was sold to the American people as a war to prevent Saddam Hussein from possessing and using weapons of mass destruction. Now, those were not found. We did liberate 27 million people from a tyrant. I won't go into the merits of the war. I refuse to do that in public because there are still men and women fighting over there and dying over there for that war. And I personally, when I was on the ground, did not appreciate politicians of any party undermining our mission while we were on the ground.
Okay, you're an ex-Marine. You're still a Marine.
Sir.
I know the saying, once a Marine, always a Marine. I respect that and understand it. And my hat goes off to anybody that puts themselves in harm's way, as you and your colleagues have done. Should American soldiers, airmen, and Marines be put in harm's way in Afghanistan? Stated differently, should the president accept the report of General McChrystal and introduce 40,000 more troops into Afghanistan, a country that no Western nation has ever liberated?
Yes. Yes, they should, because actually I will address the merits of Afghanistan. We were attacked. 3,000 Americans, innocent men, women, died on September 11th by an enemy that made Afghanistan their home. That was the justification in going and attacking that enemy on their ground. Now that we're there, we must win that war. We have to win our counterinsurgency operations right now, because if we do not, the experts, including General McChrystal, back up the fact if we pull out now, or if we slowly pull out, then what will happen is it will instantly become a terrorist haven again, and 10 years from now, I worry that more buildings will fall, another subway will get blown up, something else will happen in this nation, and we'll have to go through all of this again. We need to give them the tools they need.
Jesse, you're a libertarian. You're faithful to the Constitution to its core. This is an undeclared war. This is a police action. Who are we fighting against? Haven't we already killed the people that killed Americans?
Yes, we have, and the Taliban are there, and they're ready to do it again. It's not as if we've killed the only people in this world that have made a commitment. These people have made a commitment across the world to kill Americans. That is what they live for, is to come over here on our soil and kill Americans. You're right, it was an undeclared war. I want a congressional declaration of war, but I also believe it's part of the federal government's duty. Now they way overstep their duties everywhere else. It's part of their duty to provide for the common defense. I don't believe that providing for the common defense means staying here at home. Sometimes that means meeting the enemy on his ground and defeating him before he comes home and takes innocent lives.
Jesse Kelly, thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me on, Judge.
Joining me now is Adam Kokesh, also a veteran of the Iraq War. Adam is running for the United States Congress, seeking to represent New Mexico's 3rd Congressional District. Adam, welcome back to Freedom Watch.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Happy September 30th.
Thank you. Same to you. Once a Marine, always a Marine. Should we be fighting in Afghanistan? Should the president accept General McChrystal's request for an additional 40,000 troops? Do we belong in an undeclared war in a foreign country?
Absolutely not. And one of the reasons is that I believe this is because I believe in the Christian just war theory. And a lot of what we see in Afghanistan doesn't meet the criteria of that theory, does not qualify as a just war. You know, we've said that we had to respond after 9/11, and there was definitely a good reason to go in accordance with that theory in a way that was proportionate and was declared and had a discrete end and a specific enemy that we were going after. But since then, we've lost more American troops fighting in Iraq and Afghanistan than we did on 9/11. And if you say that America's safer, try telling that to the families of one of the troops that have died there. And you know, I just heard Jesse say that he won't debate these wars when there's troops in harm's way. Well, when I see Americans dying in the field in a situation that's not making America any safer, I have to speak out and I have to debate these issues. And he says he's not willing to debate, but he's willing to support and even, you know, support an escalation and take that side of the debate in talking about Afghanistan. I think that's really sad.
Was the Iraq war a just war? Was it just under the law?
Not.
Was it just morally?
Absolutely not. Well, it was unjust under the law because it was not declared by a legitimate authority, which under the Constitution is the U.S. Congress. And it was sold to us specifically as a preemptive war, whereas Christian just war theory dictates that wars must only be fought in self-defense.
Well, what is it about government that likes to fight wars? Why is it that in time of war, we give the government more of our treasure, and we give the government more of our freedom, and it keeps that treasure and keeps that freedom even when the war is over?
Well, I think being a pro-war libertarian is a great contradiction because war is the health of the state, and we see it today. We see it as it always has been, and you know we see it from what Major General Smedley Butler said: war is a racket in which the few profit and the many pay. It's as true today as it always has been, and that's why I'm running for Congress. That's why I'm glad to have the support of people like you. You know, today is September 30th. It's the end of the quarter. It's a very important time. It's the first reporting quarter for the FEC where we're going to be filing something, and we got a money bomb going on today that our supporters have declared. It's really important for our strategy that we make our goal of $100,000 today. And I was just going to ask, can I count on you for your support today?
I think there's a lot of people listening to us from whom you can count on support, and you know that my heart is with you, Adam. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you, Judge.